And neighbors, it is the Matt Murphy Radio Show underway for another day on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Conveniently enough, my name is Matt Murphy. May I be the first to say a good afternoon? It's 12:06, Wednesday, September 11, 2024. No doubt we will be discussing September 11, 2001, 23 years ago. Today, America was viciously and brutally attacked, the most vicious, brutal, and deadly attack on American soil. And we will discuss it as the program progresses today until 3 o'clock this afternoon, when we will be, we'll hand over to Brian Wilson and The Drive. All right, so we've lots to get into. Let me get through the pleasantries real quick. Are you, I'm fascinated with getting your reaction to what happened during the debate last night. And we will do so throughout the course of the day between noon and 3. So get your phone calls lined up, 615-737-9986. As soon as I figure out why the computer in the studio is asking me who I am, I just tried to open up Chrome, and it's like, hey, who are you? Well, who are you? Who am I? Who are you? Are you Chris? Are you Dan Mandis? No, I'm not either of those people, but I'm going to pretend to be.
Just ask it if you're being detained, and if it says no, walk away.
I think this is what Mandis was talking about this morning, having computer issues. One way or the other, we'll figure it out. Thank you, Bell K. Bell K's behind the glass, making sure that everything that comes out of our speakers sounds as good as humanly possible. There's Ken Weaver. He's back in the newsroom, gathering headlines as we speak, and generally speaking, being his award-winning excellent self. Once again, my name is Matt Murphy, and I'm under the gas. I'll just, let you know. Cameron Smith is here. Cameron joins us normally on Wednesdays at 2 o'clock. Today, he's here a little bit early for good reason, and I'll explain all of that in just a moment. Hello, Cameron.
Hello, Matt.
How are you?
Yeah, I am not gassed. So
I am. So there was a little bit of a scheduling, I wouldn't call it a snafu, but it was a dilemma, because I had a cavity, and I realized I had a cavity when I had a cleaning. And you want to get those things solved. Actually, It was a bigger cavity on the old wisdom tooth. On the back rear, which involves opening your mouth really wide. And then there was another small one up top. And the doc said, we'll knock both of those out. Come see me. 9 o'clock, Hendersonville, Tennessee, Wednesday, September 11, the day after the debate. So to get to Hendersonville from Mount Juliet, you have to go all the way around the lake, which takes an hour and a half or whatever. So, I mean, it's literally like 12 miles as the crow flies,
right,
but 39 miles as you can drive it. So I have to leave the house at like the butt crack of dawn. All that to say, I get home last night about 11 o'clock. I decompress, grab a bite to eat, go to bed, get up this morning, go to the thing. I didn't get a chance to review the debate again, which was necessary because of the atmosphere created by Scoreboard Cedar Creek last night. And I don't begrudge it. I absolutely love it. I loved seeing all of you. God bless you. I mean, man, it was a lot of fun. We missed you.
Yeah.
I know that you wanted to be there, but duty called.
Football practice, man.
Yeah, you had it. I get it. I understand.
Why didn't you take the Cumulus helicopter to your dentist appointment?
Well, no, it was being Dan Mandis uses it every morning to go from here to Starbucks.
That's fair. That's fair.
So it was out for me. So all of that to say, I'm at a little bit of a loss because I'm a little behind with regard to the debate. Secondarily, I was under the gas this morning. Do you do the gas?
Oh, yeah.
The gas is tip-top.
It is. It's great.
I mean, I love the gas.
I had speaking of wisdom teeth, I had them removed when I was in, I guess, high school. Mm-hmm. And I got dry sockets, which is, anyway, it's a thing that happens when you get your wisdom teeth removed. Mm-hmm. And I had to get them packed, and they gave me nitrous oxide, like, I don't know, once a week, and it was a party every time.
I'm telling you what. Yeah, so I mean, so here's what happened to me this morning. We'll get to the debate, I promise. So I get into the chair. I haven't been to I've been to the cleaning, but I've not. I had a cavity done about a little over a year ago, maybe, from Dr. Greaves. Sullins and Greaves in Hendersonville. I mean, absolutely tip top. I recommend them. Thank you, Doc, for everything you do. So anyway, I get in the chair, and they give me the gas, and they're prepping me, and he's doing the numbing shot, and we do the numbing shot thing, and then he leaves the room and lets it numb up for a little bit, and then he comes back, and the gas is going, and the numb is happening, and the drooling's going on.
Yeah.
And he goes, I thought about, and he knows what I do. He said, the last time you were here when I filled that little cavity for you. And I said, oh, yeah, I remember that. He goes, yeah, I went on my lunch break. He's like prepping, getting his gloves on, snappy snap. He goes, I go on my lunch break and I turned on the radio and I'm listening to you on the radio. And I think, what was it? He looks to his dental assistant. What was it? He compared me to Hermie in Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Snap. Drill. I'm like, no, you don't understand. These are jokes. We're just joking.
You were put in a compromising situation.
I was in a compromise. He goes, yeah, I thought that was really funny. You said I was like Hermie and Rudolph, and he said, I think I'm a little taller than Hermie. No question. I was like, what about...
Nighty-night, Matt.
That's right. Good night. Enjoy. Hope you have teeth when you come back up. I didn't want to be the abominable snowman or snow monster in the film. Spoiler alert: he pulls his teeth. So I said, "What about the Steve Martin character in Little Shop of Horrors?" And I thought he was going to pull out his little leather apron and put it on, but anyway. So I'm probably not at 100%, and I didn't know necessarily if I would be able to speak because of the numbing.
So I'm just here in case you start drooling.
Right, or, fall over or whatever.
Right.
And so I was like, Cameron, come in early. Can you come in early? Because I'm not really sure. And Cameron was gracious enough to say yes. But here's the cool thing.
I believe I said, I got you, boo.
I wasn't going to bring that up. I got you, boo. I physically saw the text and I went, ugh. Yeah. They have a thing now, modern medicine, for all the problems and the pitfalls and the trials and travails. It's pretty incredible where we live. So not only can they give you a shot to numb half of your face so that they can drill into your teeth where the nerves are and you don't feel it. They asked me, would you like the reversal shot? The dental assistant, whose name I didn't catch, and I apologize if you're listening. She said, would you like the reversal? I'm like, well, I don't know what that is, but it really depends on what we're reversing, right? And she said, no, it's a shot. We have a shot now where we can quicken the numbing agent and quick the reversal. I mean, and so now I'm not numb. I'm just kind of discombobulated.
I can verify you're not drooling presently.
I can feel my tongue.
A little addled, but otherwise okay.
Oh, yeah, that's all the gas. So if y'all want to get me, if you're a liberal and you want to get me, today's the day.
Aaron, I'm on the text line. Aaron said, is Cameron the Tim Waltz for Matt today? That's good.
That's pretty good.
Aaron's right. That's a good one.
He's my emotional support animal. He is my Tim Walz today. So anyway, your thoughts on the debate, we'll get to you at 615-737-9986. If you have any thoughts on 9/11, we'll probably dedicate a little bit of time later on in the show to that. It is episode 649 of our proceedings today. Let me get through the pleasantries real quick. It is Locks for Trump Day 193. A lot of compliments on the hair last night, which was very kind of many of you. A couple of criticisms, a couple of concerns. One lovely lady said, it's not, 6 months? You're lying. It's not that long, really. This has been 193 days. I think that's about a half a year. And we will continue to grow these out until we have a new president-elect. I might extend that to Inauguration Day if Trump manages to win. More on that in a little bit. Episode 649 is heard on 99.7 FM from Southern Kentucky to Northern Alabama and all points in between. You can also catch us anywhere you stream music or news or information or podcast. Anywhere you stream stuff on your phone, you can stream us. Just type in Supertalk 99.7 WTN. I would encourage you to download our own app and do it that way. And then, of course, there's Supertalk TV, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch. Episode 649 is entitled, Bill.
Matt Murphy Show. It's 9/11. Do you know where your inherent rights are?
Yeah, that's a good question. That's a good question. We'll get into it. So it's my understanding that I didn't listen this morning. I was in a dentist office, but it's my understanding that based on the Taylor Swift endorsement, Mandis is now all in on Kamala. Is that right?
Yes.
Is that correct?
It's over. It's done.
Seems logical.
In fact, Kamala's actually said that we shouldn't even have an election since Taylor's endorsed her. It's done.
Now, I joke about that. Some people will take that seriously, but that's a joke. But based on Mandis talking last night about if Taylor Swift were to endorse Kamala Harris, would that move the needle? And I just push back on it ferociously. I hate it. I hate endorsements to begin with. And I hate the idea of anyone being so brain dead that they would go along in their lives, not vote at all. I'm not going to vote. I'm not worried about it. I'm not thinking about it. And then someone that they idolize in the entertainment industry says, hey, I'm voting for, oh, well, then I'm going to vote. I get physically ill thinking about it.
I understand that you get ill thinking about it, but I also think that can be a thing, too.
No, Dan's right.
Yeah.
That's what makes me sickest of all is that Dan Manis is right.
That will happen.
That it will move the needle. I don't know how much.
It's a close election. I mean, it matters. I mean,
it matters if she can motivate 25-year-old females to go vote.
Bingo.
It matters.
Yeah. It does. I mean, I don't know if it's a point or half a point or any of that, but like, it's something.
You know what? I think, and, sadly, I don't predict that this will happen necessarily, but in Pennsylvania or Georgia or even, Michigan or North Carolina, which is now in play, 15,000 votes, 20,000 votes, one way or the other. Swing a state. Swing a state, swing an election.
Yeah.
Sad.
Yeah, it is, but I think what's shocking, and I know we're going to talk about the debate, but what I've been looking at is the Kamala Harris approval. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
She's done nothing other than replace Joe Biden, right? But the reimagination of her policy positions, her general discipline, and sort of the weird laugh, she still has a little bit, but the future unburdened by what has been, she's gotten rid of. She has managed to be a net positive favorability. Like, she is now in net positive after years of being underwater, unfavorable, 14 points. Just over the last stretch, it is a shocking testament to what media and algorithms can do when they decide to do a thing.
Do you believe that Kamala Harris owns a gun?
I find that
she said she did last night.
She did. I find that unlikely. I have not seen her. Most politicians that own guns, they go out and do things with guns. Like Wallace, for example, we've seen those things.
Yeah, sure.
Years ago, there was a guy in Alabama named Paul DeMarco who debated Gary Palmer, who's on this show periodically, and he basically said, well, I have all these guns, but I'm not going to tell you about them. And
I think I was moderating that debate. I think you were on the panel. Yeah. You were on the panel during that debate.
And it was the worst answer because there was no evidence that he had really ever had any engagement with firearms whatsoever. And I think that's how I felt about Harris saying that. She's not going to win that crowd anyway.
I felt like if she owns a gun, it's something that she did 20 years ago so that she could always say that she owned a gun when she was challenged on her gun control stance, right?
Yeah.
Well, I own a gun.
But I mean, come on. The NRA contingency, they're not going to be close to Harris.
Not to belabor this, but you reminded me of this moment in time. I was in Birmingham, Alabama. Cameron was in Alabama at the time. He was writing for AL.com, doing some other things down there. And I was on the radio, and I was asked to moderate this thing it was a runoff election for the 6th Congressional District seat that eventually was won by now Congressman Gary Palmer. And Gary and Paul were on the debate stage, if you will, answering questions, and the questions about gun ownership came up. My memory was the juxtaposition, because Paul was asked, do you own a gun? Yeah. Well, what about it? Well, I'm not going to tell you what guns I own. He was like, oh, I'm not going to tell you that. And then, was it you that asked it? I forget who asked, but the person said, Gary, what about you? And Gary's like, I own, and he started rattling off the guns that he owned.
The names, make, and models.
Right, of all of the guns that he owned, and the juxtaposition between weak man going, oh, I'm not going to tell you, and the other guy going, oh, I have this, and 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 they're like, okay, the way that you just answered the question confirms that he's a liar.
Right. Well, I mean, this to me, the big thing and I was so concerned about it because I saw it coming, because she has been an easy target. Kamala Harris has been an easy target to kind of rib and make fun of and be like, I don't think she's that smart. She hasn't really done anything. She was very prepared for that debate. She knew the game plan. She came in with a strategy. she executed that. And I think that was one of the big takeaways for me. She seemed more prepared.
Isn't it easy if you have the moderators on your side?
I've actually got the transcript pulled up, and I understand the idea that, hey, these guys seem very biased because they were fact checking him in real time and then not pressing her on answers.
They didn't fact check her on anything.
Well, for example, they asked the question of, why do you flip flop on these policies? Like, I thought that was a good question.
Sure.
But then she's like, I'm going to answer all of that. Proceeded to answer none of that. And they didn't say, answer the question. And they did do that to him. They did say, answer the question. Like,
well, and they also inserted themselves into the debate by saying, well, what you just said wasn't true. And they never did it with her. For example, an easy way to do that, you would mute Matt Murphy's criticism if David Muir would have been willing to say, well, Ms. Vice President, that comment, you're taking the comment that he made in Charlottesville out of context, and it's been well established that that comment was taken out of context when she brings up the Charlottesville thing.
Right.
That's the easiest one to do. And then you look at Matt Murphy or Cameron Smith or whoever and go, what are you talking about? I fact-checked her too. But you didn't do that.
Well, so when I'm looking through the transcript, and like you, I was watching it with my kids and things are going around. They're asking me questions. And one of the things that I saw was they did ask questions, but they didn't really press hard on getting good answers from her. And she took advantage of, we've seen the term baited a lot in the way that she handled Trump. She really went after him to pull him in, and he felt like he had to defend as opposed to pointing out, his closing sentiment was really good. But it was like, you're the incumbent. You're in office right now. How are you saying you're the change? Mm-hmm. You're the change candidate when you're literally the vice president of the United States right now? But at that point, I think it was too late. There was a lot of distraction, a lot of meandering. I think she did well. And she put it this way. She needed to not tank that debate like Biden did. And she overperformed expectations for her.
Yeah. He finally beat Medicare.
Yeah.
It's 23 after the hour. Your thoughts on all of this, 615-737-9986, either through the membersnutrition.com super text line, or you're invited to give us a call. Matt Murphy and Cameron Smith with you until 3 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. There's no debate about this. Savory Spice is the number one location for all of your spice needs. If you're thinking about grilling, if you're thinking about tailgating, maybe you're going out to the Titans game this weekend. I don't know. And perhaps you're going to tailgate before the game and you're going to grill something up. Have you thought about stopping by Savory Spice? There's two locations. One's in Nashville, L&L Market on Charlotte Pike. The other's in Franklin, just off the square. You walk in, you smell the smells, you see the friendly folks. It's locally owned, which is important to me. Holly and David own Savory Spice, and they're great people with a great product, excellent product, and something for everyone and every taste. Now, on the grilling front, if your burgers aren't up to snuff, if your chops don't do it for the tailgate gang, maybe your chicken isn't quite where it needs to be, go to Savory Spice. They have delicious spices that can up that food game. I always say you up your food game. Well, you need to get that good cut of meat. You need to get those good veggies from the farmer's market and whatnot. But you up your food game by upping your spice game. You up your spice game at the two locations of the one and only Savory Spice. Hello, folks. Matt Murphy for U.S. Pest. U.S. Pest simply is the best when it comes to pest control at your home. J.K., Erica, and the rest of the team at U.S. Pest want to talk with you. They would love to come by your home. They're not going to hard sell you on anything. They're simply going to give you a free pest inspection at your home, find out what you're doing right now, if anything, and how U.S. Pest is superior to any other service in Middle Tennessee. They offer full-service pest control with spiders, stink bugs, ants, roaches, all common Tennessee pests. They'll take care of them with their 100% money-back guarantee on their full-service pest control. They also have termite protection, which is so very important because not only is that protecting you from the bugs and the creepy crawlies and the nasties, that is protecting your property, and 100% money-back guarantee there, too, with preventative and corrective services available to you. Every home in Tennessee is threatened by termites. You need to make sure you're protected with U.S. Pest. Go to uspest.com. That's uspest.com for more information about services offered, or give them a call. Let them stop by your home today. 615-590-1260. 590-1260.
Tracking Hurricane Francine when it starts impacting Middle Tennessee, and Speaker Mike Johnson pumping the brakes in our nation's capital. We'll tell you why at 12:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hey, Ken Weaver.
Yeah, Brother Murphy.
This is a real bummer for me.
What's that?
Is it going to rain on Saturday?
It looks like it could.
Because I got we got the big Mount Juliet yard sale at Charlie Daniels Park.
Let's put a big old tent up.
Okay. I mean, we've got, okay. I mean, all right, okay.
Wear your slicker.
Yeah, but I mean, I just don't wear my rubbers, wear my slicker, and just get on out. And I expect plenty of people will be out and about in a rainstorm, in a monsoon. Coming. And we had all this stuff we're going to sell.
It looks like, Thursday, Friday, maybe Saturday?
I guess we need the rain. I shouldn't complain.
Do.
Supposed to be some improvement on Sunday.
Well, going to the old, I hope that in addition to the weather improvement, the Titans' offense will improve because I plan on being at the game.
Way to go, Brother Murphy.
How about that? Y'all come see me. I'll be the guy in the hat.
Yeah.
At the stadium.
I was watching the game, and then I saw that Levis ending.
The surrender Cobra?
Yikes.
Yeah, after I guess I get what we're trying to do there, but you don't, you're up by one. What are you being Superman for? What are you doing?
Pull a Dennis Hopper like in the Hoosiers. Things get out of hand.
You talking about just getting liquored up?
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Just start running out there on the field.
That is a solution.
That is one solution. I don't know if that's going to accomplish the goal we're trying to reach, but that's a solution. So, all right, rain's on the way, according to Ken Weaver. Ken Weaver's on the way with some news. Your comments on the way as well. We'll break down what we know about the debate, what happened, what did not happen. I don't know. I could be wrong, Cameron, and I want you to argue this after the news, one way or the other, but I don't know how much this necessarily moves the needle. I mean, for nerds like us, we're going to dissect, we're going to dig deep, we're going to dig in. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. Am I discounting the numbers of people that tune in for the first time and really start checking in on presidential elections? Maybe. We'll discuss all of that with you on the phones at 12:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
$12:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. We've got thousands of people without power ahead of Hurricane Francine's landfall along the Louisiana Gulf Coast. Here in Middle Tennessee, Channel 4's Dan Thomas is tracking the storm and its impact here.
1 to 4 inches of rain likely in the mid-state with this. Max winds now at 90. And notice the track has not changed from the last couple of days. It looks to go toward Memphis. This is Friday morning, Memphis. And then Friday evening, just north of Memphis. So it will hang around, giving us those chances for showers and storms on multiple days.
Yeah, full forecast coming up in 5 minutes. Remembrances taking place all across the country, marking 23 years since the September 11th attacks. This was at the end of a ceremony in New York City. Meantime, in Nashville this morning, Fire Chief William Swan.
For us to remember this is important, especially for our future generations. It's hard to believe that 23 years have passed. But one thing that I really think this significant in any type of emergency, especially something of this magnitude. It brought everybody together. It's not to get divided by hatred or fear, but to come together because we are stronger as one unit.
Wilson County holding its 9/11 observance right now at the Watertown Ag Pavilion. And right now in our nation's capital, I'm seeing reports that Speaker Mike Johnson has canceled a vote on a funding bill that would have kept the government open after some Republicans have walked back their support. Election 2024, some Republicans have been open about how they believe Trump did at the debate last night. More from ABC News contributor Rachel Baudet.
Lindsey Graham, after the debate, he actually came out and said it point blank that this was a loss for Donald Trump. However, a lot of Republicans, they don't want to give that feedback on the record, right? Because they're afraid that it will blow back on them.
Now, less than an hour after last night's debate, the Harris campaign called for another matchup. Trump responded. They want another debate because they lost. He said, so, well, think about that. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Hey, friends, it's Matt Murphy, and I'd like to update you on some exciting news from our friends at Brentwood Hearing Center. Their teams of audiologists and doctors are committed to providing patients with the most recent and modern hearing device technology. Their leadership team recently attended the launch of a new hearing aid, the Phonak Sphere, which is dedicated to helping patients hear well in situations where there's extensive background noise. I'll give you a great example. Last night at the debate watch party, a lot of activity, a lot of background noise going on. Perhaps for someone with hearing loss, difficult to hear conversations right in front of them. This is you. This is a computer chip completely dedicated to address speech within noise. The Phonak Sphere will help you out when you're at a dinner party or when you're at a debate watch party like last evening. Brentwood Hearing Center, better hearing for a better life, 615-377-0420. That's 377-0420. Or find out more online at BrentwoodHearingCenter.com. That's BrentwoodHearingCenter.com. When you call Ronnie and his team, tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Brentwood Hearing Center. Hello, friends. It's Matt Murphy for Men of Valor. What a wonderful organization, a wonderful example of doing things the right way in the state of Tennessee. When I say that, this is what I mean. Men of Valor understands, and maybe you didn't know, but 90% of the people who are in prison, men who are in prison, are going to get out of prison. 90% of them. What type of men do we want getting out of prison? Now, sadly, about 50% of those men in the state of Tennessee will return to prison in 3 years unless they are given a hope and given a future without violence or crime in it. And that's what Men of Valor is there for. Men of Valor has less than 10% of their graduates from the Men of Valor program return to prison. Less than 10%. It's an incredible rate because of the power of God and the power of God's people. Men of Valor needs you as a volunteer in the prisons, in their campus or on their campus, at their aftercare reentry service. Whatever level of volunteerism you're willing to give, they're accepting volunteers right now. If you go to movministry.com, that's movministry.com, you're invited to join us in helping set these captives free and making our community a better, safe place in the process. movministry.com. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. It is Matt Murphy, a hobbled Murphy, as I had a dental appointment this morning, and I'm feeling the after effects of the gas. Probably a good opportunity for those of you who like to gig me or get under my skin to come on, let's do it. 615-737-9986. I have the capable Cameron Smith in studio with me discussing and dissecting the debate. We'll get into 9/11 a little bit later on in the program, and amongst other items up for grabs. Renee is in Ashland City and joins us now with a comment about the debate. Hello, Renee.
Hi there, Matt. Thank you for taking my call.
Of course.
So last night in the debate, David made a comment that he spoke with the city leader in Ohio, that the cat comment was not true. And we all know, because I believe I heard it on the radio with you guys the other day, the Haitians are going in and taking people's pets and their cats, and there was a body cam footage of a woman that had done that. There were so many lies last night, and I pray to God that Kamala does not win this race. We are in big trouble. I'm a single woman, and I'm working 2 jobs because I can't afford this economy. Groceries, gas, interest rates, you name it. I was screaming at the TV all night. But that's my comment. Thank you so much for what you do. I appreciate you guys, all of you that run this show. Have a great day.
Thank you, Renee. I appreciate you. So let's dissect how we got to the cat conversation and whether or not it was effective in last night's debate. So we know that there are thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of individuals coming into our United States of America.
Yeah, we can see the numbers. We know.
Illegally.
Absolutely.
And it feels, Cameron, like some of this is directional and intentional in terms of populations from specific places ending up in specific places. I think Sylacauga, Alabama's had this issue. Apparently Springfield, Ohio is having this issue where populations of individuals from very specific areas of the world, in this case Haiti, have apparently descended on these communities. Now, there are suggestions that business interests are involved in this, but it feels like there's a direct pull. Like there is someone, these are not individuals trying to find a better life and deciding, well, if the border is going to be open, then I'm just going to exploit that open border. I'm going to break the law to make a better life for myself. Some of this feels like that there are businesses or some interests pulling people from other parts of the world to take advantage of it from a business standpoint. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily as sinister, but I looked at this. This is on Reuters, that 15,000 immigrants from Haiti over the last 3 years have reshaped Springfield. It's a city of about 58,000 people. And it was because there was work there. And that's why they were there.
But my question is, without an organizing interest,
yeah,
how do all of the Haitians decide to go to Springfield, Ohio?
Well, I mean, in terms of knowing each other, I mean, you see this commonly with immigrant groups that they say, oh, well, so-and-so moved, extended families. I mean, I see that in areas, even here in Tennessee. I mean, that's not uncommon. The argument that we can make, though, is, okay, well, if they're moving here under, let's say, a business visa program, is that something we want as a matter of immigration policy? Or is it, hey, let's try to first make sure that those jobs can't be filled by existing citizens? Like, there's laws and processes for that, and we can argue about that. My point is, Trump's won the issue of immigration. Harris and Biden have failed on immigration policy. I thought that dog, cat, duck, whatever comment about eating things is unnecessary because it's just your policies have failed. We've had hundreds of thousands of people a year pouring across the border that we know about, and you undid my policies to enable that. And this is on you, regardless of what happens. And then they turned it into a humorous thing. J.D. Vance in the spin room afterwards tried to say, well, it's kind of a meme and it's an extreme example, but we're just trying to get attention on the issue of immigration. I think Trump already has attention on it, and he's winning it.
This is what pisses people off, though, is that the liberals get to have extreme examples, and they get to live in those extreme examples, and nobody fact check them. David Muir's not there fact checking Charlottesville.
Well, you fact check them,
but they get to wallow in the extreme examples.
Yeah,
and the lack of fairness with regard to when there is evidence that there perhaps was a cat that got killed and eaten. And I'm not saying that this is widespread, but what annoys people is that when those examples come up and we bring it up, the left says, oh, you're just lying, and they dismiss it hat in hand. It's very frustrating.
Yeah, of course. And
I mean,
but you're right.
But the reason that the cat thing resonates with people is that these folks are coming in with their own cultural experiences, and they have zero interest in assimilating into American culture. They're bringing their culture with them, and sometimes they're coming from places where their standard of their culture is far beneath our expectations here in the United States of America. And I don't blame, if there's a Haitian that killed a duck in a park and he ate the duck, I don't blame the Haitian, because from where the Haitian is from, you got to eat, man. If you're from Venezuela, when you see food, you got to eat. But it is an example, I think, for a lot of people of how far we've come with regard to the issue of immigration. Now, whether or not it should have been brought up on the debate stage, I mean, that's a fair point. And I agree with you.
Yeah, I just think it distracts from the issue. And there are a lot of different cultural traditions that get brought into the United States through immigrants and have for a long time. And they shape the fabric of America. And I am very much in favor of, hey, you need to be an American first. You need to assimilate into American society.
We're not bringing cat eating in. Is that fair?
I mean,
is it fair to say no?
Yeah. I mean, there
are cultures that eat cats. I'm not putting up with that crap here. Period.
Yeah,
I don't care where you're from. That's not a matter of being welcoming to immigrants. You don't get to eat cats if you come here, or dogs.
You can't ever steal someone's pet and eat it. That's not a thing, man. That's not a thing that we would allow. Like, we would prosecute. If I have 2 dogs, if somebody came and stole my dogs and ate them, I mean, they get prosecuted, man. And I feel like an insane person that we're talking about this, because immigration is one of the issues that's not a close call, and who can handle this better.
Well, it is an example, and perhaps you could argue that it should not have been brought up, because you knew that Muir or Harris they would deny it. And I predicted this. I predicted Trump would bring it up and that they would deny that it happened, and they would call Trump a liar, which is exactly what happened.
I have the transcript up here because I've been working on a column, and this happened right after she got asked the first immigration question and just kind of wandered away from it, and then hit him on his rally size. And then he, instead of dragging her and being like, answer the question about your failed immigration policies, he said, oh, let me tell you about my rallies, and then kind of got lost, and then he got back to it, and instead of, again, making it about her, she was able to pivot quicker than him and kind of like laughed off, like, really? We're talking about eating pets? She's losing this issue. She's not ahead of him on immigration. And so that was one where he needed to score some points. And I just don't think it landed.
615-737-9986. Let's talk with Bonnie in Tullahoma next on the Matt Murphy Show. Hello, Bonnie.
Yes, I was hoping you was coming to me, and I would like to talk a minute. I noticed that you let that man talk quite a bit, so I don't want to talk very long, but I want to get my breath in. This is real. If you go to Google or YouTube, a police officer comes to a woman's house in Springfield, Ohio. She had been eating a small kitten. It is real. Donald Trump did not lie. And I don't understand why people are getting on the radio trying to make it like Donald Trump didn't know what to say. He did know what to say. And in my eyes, I think he did fine. I think he knew what to say. I think he handled himself right. He didn't badger the woman. He didn't put the woman down. And one more thing. If Kamala Harris would not do all these crazy taxes, and if she didn't have Tampon Tim running with her, and change a few other things, I would vote for her because, you know, men sometimes they do suck at what they do. But I am going to vote for Donald Trump. And I don't know that you've heard it, but Taylor Swift is going to endorse Donald Trump. I heard it on TV, and they're trying to encourage her not to do it because it's going to hurt her musical whatever.
Hey, Bonnie, am I allowed to talk on my show right now?
Yes, sir.
Taylor Swift already endorsed Kamala Harris last night.
Not Kamala Harris. Supposed to have been Donald Trump.
Taylor Swift endorsed Kamala Harris last night.
Oh, gosh. That's terrible.
I know. It's sad enough. Makes you want to eat a cat.
No, not no cat.
No.
Yeah,
Okay.
duck.
All right.
Small kitten?
Hamster?
But I just wish people would not call in like the last man talking negative about Mr. Trump. Why don't we show some kind of respect and some kind of courage for the people out there that want this to happen?
Want what to happen?
Yeah, want what to happen?
We want Trump to win, you know. And
Well, I want Trump to win.
There's no need of talking
but I mean, so let me and sincere question here, Bonnie, because I'm willing to learn. Should we not discuss where we thought Donald Trump might have missed an opportunity last night? I mean, should we just say he did great, he did awesome, he did wonderful, he's A+, he's top notch?
He was trying not to make her mad. He was trying to hold himself back. Can y'all not see that?
Okay, Bonnie, I can see where you're coming from. I'm asking you, is it acceptable to you that we dissect the debate in a way that maybe seems negative toward Trump? And so, I mean, I don't understand what you want me to do. You want me to just say Donald Trump did great?
I think he did fine.
Okay.
And at the
Great.
end, he nailed it. And I don't think this. I think he knew what to say. He didn't want to go too far with it because he was going to piss her off, and a big fight was going to happen.
You think he came out victorious last night?
I think he did good. I think when she was putting her finger underneath her chin, I think it just reminded me of a woman on a damn period.
Whoa. So I don't know if I heard you right. Did you say that there are circumstances in which you would vote for her?
I would vote for her because she's a female because I've not had that much good luck with men, especially the ex-boyfriend in Lebanon, Tennessee. But anyway,
Those Lebanon guys.
Because she is a liar and stuff like that, and she's a schemer, she's an old Democrat, sneaky cunt. No,
Whoa.
I wouldn't vote.
Okay, you got to kill that. You got it, Bell. You got to kill it. I mean, I'm sorry, I could have done it myself.
It got a little spicy.
Can
I say one thing?
And not emotional support Cobra spicy.
It's not women on their periods. It's birthing people on their periods.
You can't say words like that on the radio.
And I get people saying that they don't like their politician being criticized. My concern is if we should criticize all the politicians. We should speak truth to power. They should always do that.
I don't understand the idea that, I mean, I'm very confused by that telephone call. It felt like Bonnie was telling me that we weren't allowed to criticize Donald Trump, that he did great, but then she would consider voting for Kamala Harris if she weren't such a nasty
because
person.
of those Lebanon guys.
I guess.
I don't know what y'all are doing over in Lebanon.
I don't either. Well, look, if you're online, I think you heard that, and I apologize for you. If you're on the radio, you did not, and rightly so. If you're on hold, you probably heard that as well. Let's just move on from it. It's 53 after the hour on Super Talk. It is September 11th, and tonight at the Charlie Daniels Patriot Awards dinner, we remember September 11th and everything that came after. The Charlie Daniels Journey Home Project is so thankful to be 10 years old. They're thankful to be able to help veterans in need reintegrate from service into civilian life. And I am very thankful to be associated with the Charlie Daniels Journey Home Project. Not only are they celebrating 10 years, but they're also asking everyone to remember those that we lost on 9/11. Working in tandem with organizations that help veterans, the Charlie Daniels Journey Home Project is making a difference in the lives of American patriots. After many years of service to their country, and for some, multiple deployments, they come back home, and it's a complex process reintegrating into civilian life, be it physical or mental, education or employment. The Charlie Daniels Journey Home Project helps. I beg of you, if you're able to give to the Charlie Daniels Journey Home Project as you can, a wonderful organization, one that I heartily endorse, go to the CharlieDanielsJourneyHomeProject.org today. That's the CharlieDanielsJourneyHomeProject.org to make a difference. Once again, the CharlieDanielsJourneyHomeProject.org.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Hurricane Francine expected to make landfall in Louisiana tonight. Here in Middle Tennessee, Channel 4's Dan Thomas is tracking its potential impacts here.
Like we talked about, there could be an isolated tornado. Not a great chance of this, but there is a chance either tomorrow or Friday or both, especially in southern Middle Tennessee in this zone in through here. But again, anywhere in the mid-state, southern Kentucky, I think that's a possibility as this landfalling system dissipates over our area. The rain chance will be really increasing tomorrow late, 70% on Friday, 60% Saturday. So I've raised that from what we were carrying yesterday, which was 50%, 40% on Sunday. Then this is really shutting down as we get into Monday.
Full forecast coming up in 5 minutes. Today, remembrances taking place all across the country, marking 23 years since the September 11th attacks. That was at the close of ceremonies in New York City. Here in Middle Tennessee, the Nashville Fire Department honored the sacrifices made by first responders and civilians on that day. And in Franklin,
we honor the innocent lives lost and the heroism shown that day in New York City, Arlington, Virginia, and Shanksville, Pennsylvania. Among them, 343 firefighters died when the twin towers collapsed. Tragically, another 343 firefighters have died with 9/11 related illnesses.
Franklin Fire Chief Glenn Johnson and other city officials at a bell-ringing ceremony this morning. Right now in our nation's capital, House Speaker Mike Johnson has scrapped a vote on a government funding bill that would have included a provision to require proof of citizenship before registering to vote. Democrats called the provision a non-issue. Even members of Johnson's own party already said they wouldn't back that bill. A new study shows that since the Supreme Court decision overturning Roe v. Wade, more women are choosing to have their tubes tied. Here's Sherry Preston.
According to a research letter published in the Journal of the American Medical Association, the number of women opting for surgeries to close their fallopian tubes so they can no longer get pregnant is going up. And the biggest increases are in states where abortion is banned. In the 18 months before the Dobbs decision in June of 2022, researchers say tubal ligations remain stable, but in the latter half of 22, the procedure rose by 3% each month in states with abortion bans.
Yeah, this research letter says it examined insurance claims data from 2021 and 2022 for around 4.8 million women who got tubal ligations in 36 states and the District of Columbia. That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Hello, friends. It's Matt Murphy for Nashville Safe House. Have you been to see Mark at the Safe House? Have you seen the incredible I know Cameron Smith has. I don't mean to pull him in on this, but he was there when we did a broadcast at Nashville Safe House to celebrate their 30th birthday in town. And man, oh man, at the safes, they have biometrics, which are really cool. You can put them by the bedside. So, if you have kids, it's especially important. You can protect yourself, protect your family, protect your home, and not worry about the kids getting inside of your safe to get your gun. Now, they also have large gun safes. Of course, they are sales tax free at Nashville Safe House, as you know. But then they have corporate safes. They have jewelry safes. They have other types of tornado shelters. I mean, what they do safes, they do tornado shelters, they do vault doors, and that's it. They are the specialist, and not just in Nashville, but throughout the Southeast and really the United States of America. And if they're the specialist in the United States, that means they're the specialist in the universe. Tell Mark I said that when you stop by and see him. 4th Avenue South across from City Cemetery. Get yourself a safe at Nashville Safe House. It is 106, almost 107, and a good afternoon. My name is Matt Murphy, and I am the host of the Matt Murphy Radio Show on Super Talk 99.7 WT, and I promise we'll get to each of you. A lot of people wanting to comment on the debate from last evening. What a great watch party at Scoreboard Cedar Creek. Thank you so much for each and every one of you that decided to come out. I appreciate you. And by the way, I would be remiss if I didn't mention this, and I didn't do it in the first hour, and I won't belabor it, but I want to thank Ricky. I want to thank, there was one other listener whose name I have forgotten. He's the tie-dye guy. Bell, you don't remember the tie-dye guy's name, do you? He was the one that gave me the tie-dyed T-shirt for pickleball against Dan Mandis.
Half the time I don't remember your name.
Well, that's true. You know what? You remind me of something my father-in-law just sent me, Bell. My father-in-law just sent me this meme. You ready?
Who are you?
No, it says, I got two moods. I'm too high for this crap. I'm not high enough for this crap.
That's a valuable point. I mean, that
I feel
should
like
be
that's
taken to
you
heart.
right
Yeah.
now. Should we mention that you have allergies right now?
I guess.
I don't know why it occurs to me to bring this up. Hey, Cameron. Cameron Smith is here with us. Ken Weaver back in the newsroom as well. Hey,
I
Cameron.
think we should mention why I think I have allergies.
Yeah,
Why?
Bell told me this morning that he's got the allergies, and but he's been talking about it all week. And then last night he said, "What did you say you take?" Because I take a Zyrtec every day.
Yeah,
and
me too.
When they're bad, I take two. And he said, you got you something, right? You got Claritin or something.
I stopped and got some the Walmart the generic Claritin, and it made a huge difference.
Every day, I take a Claritin and Flonase in the morning, and a Zyrtec and Claritin at night.
Holy crap!
Well, no. I honestly believe that I have developed, and I'm not joking, I think I've developed allergies to cats.
He's got cat allergies.
Cat allergies?
Yeah. And he's got two cats.
I had two cats.
Well, eat them. That's the only thing you can do.
You know what?
No, don't eat them.
No, it's
If
like
he's got
poison
allergies.
ivy. Like, they used to tell you eat the poison ivy and you won't get it again. Well, if you eat a cat, you don't have cat allergies.
There you go.
Okay.
That's probably what's happening. People are trying to avoid cat allergies in Ohio.
By eating the cats. So we'll continue discussing the cat eating. But thank you to Ricky, who was nice enough. A couple of you remembered my birthday was this month, and you brought me birthday presents. I got a nice shot glass and a tie-dyed handkerchief from Tie-Dye Guy. Thank you, Tie-Dye Guy. And Ricky was nice enough to give me a Dolly hat and a Dolly mug, and I appreciate that. Thank you. And if I forgot, I think that's it. No. There was one other. Our good friend Mark Allen Barnett got me a present too. So thank you guys for thinking of me, and thank each and every one of you for coming out. If you enjoyed it last night, we appreciate you. We're doing it again on election night. I think we're doing a vice presidential debate watch party, if I'm not mistaken. And I believe that is scheduled for Hot Springs in Murfreesboro on the night of the vice presidential debate. And we all know that, right? We all know when the vice presidential debate is. Don't you?
Mm-mm.
I don't either. So, but when we figure out what that day is.
No clue.
Hey, Weaver, you know when the vice president.
Yeah.
I like Weaver lurking in the background. Weaver!
Yeah.
A word. Do you know when the vice presidential debate is?
Well, let me look it up.
It's sometime in October, I think.
Sounds great.
Okay, sure. But yeah, great. Tim Walz, J.D. Vance.
I feel like Walls is going to come in like Varsity Blues, and it's going to be very like folksy coach.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, we're down, and the ball's on the goal line. It's the fourth quarter. Donald Trump, he's the nose guard, and he's blitzing A-gap. I mean, that's what I feel like is going to happen, and J.D. Vance is going to be smart And I hate to say it, but folksy versus smart, folksy wins a lot. Like,
You think?
It's feels, man, because that's the thing. It's not enough in modern politics to be right. People got to feel like you're
I feel
right.
like Donald Trump's right on every
He's right on a lot of
ideological
issues.
point, every issue. You got it there, Weaver?
I do, boys. It is going to be Tuesday, October 1.
Okay, there you go. Tuesday, October 1st. Very exciting.
Yeah.
Very exciting. You reminded me of there's a play called Greater Tuna about a small town called Tuna, Texas.
Okay.
And most of the play is involving a radio station. There are folksy radio hosts, and they bring in the football coach. And it's the greatest scene in this play when they bring in the football coach because they bring in, let's bring in Coach Cameron. I forget his name. They bring in Coach Cameron. Coach, it seems like we suffered a defeat last night, 49-0. The Tuna Panthers lost, to the some other team. Well, what happened, Coach? And he's like, well, boys, let me tell you something. Y'all can focus on the loss, but I'm focusing on the good part of this. And here's what I know. If we had been able to stop those boys, or if we had been able to score, we could have had ourselves a tie. It's like, what?
I want you to know how much of my headspace goes to thinking about football things. And it's all for example, you know what's on September 28th?
Georgia, Alabama.
Bingo. I mean,
are you going to be there?
I am.
I think I am too.
Yeah. We've got this Saturday. We got the
go watch that whooping.
Clarksville Screaming Eagles coming to the Nolensville Stars, and I'm trying to convince 10-year-olds of, hey, when I ask you to maintain gap coverage, I need you to believe me. Or, hey, when we block a certain assignment, I need you to know where this goes. And so I don't have time to figure out when a vice presidential debate is. I got to get a 10-year-old to run through the two-hole.
Here's the great part about all of this. I don't need to know when the vice presidential debate is because Ken does. So there you go.
I was going to say, boys, on September 28th, I don't know what the big deal is about Bama and Georgia. They're going to have Oklahoma and Auburn on TLC.
That's great.
You know what? I don't care what happened against Houston. Y'all are going to whoop up on Auburn again.
Auburn has this problem with throwing interceptions.
Yeah,
so do we.
Is that 4? Did y'all throw 4? Because Peyton Thorne threw 4.
Well, we threw 1. Then we couldn't get first downs.
Hey, people want to talk about what happened last night, and we're just having fun. I don't know how we're going to square this circle.
Yeah.
All right, well, we're going to get back to calls on the issue of the debate from last evening. What did you think? What went well? What didn't go so well? 13 minutes after the hour, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. But thank you for all of you, regardless of what you thought about the debate performance. It was difficult to watch during the big event because there were so many folks talking. We were having a great time. I've not had an opportunity. I'm just being honest with you because I had a dental appointment this morning. I had to get up early to get to that. I was planning on trying to rewatch it last night. I got in late enough where I wasn't able to do that. So I've not been able to dissect.
You just got a ton of excuses for not doing your job.
I haven't been able to dissect the debate. Well, I did my job last night, Bell. Unlike you, I didn't. Were you there? Did I miss you?
Yeah, actually, I was.
When did I miss
you?
you?
And you never spotted me once.
Oh, well, that's because there were so many people that were coming up to me and saying hello and wanting to see you and wanting to find out where you were.
When you should have been paying attention to the debate, sir.
Well, I tried to do that, and I upset some folks. I was like, hey, I'm trying to it's hard. It's difficult. All right, 615-737-9986. Oklahoma, Auburn is going to be one hell of a pillow fight, writes 4460.
Ken liked that.
Yeah. Ken did like that. And then somebody sent me a meme of a kitten sandwich where a guy's got a hoagie bun and he puts a kitten inside of it.
I mean, they have to have like an Atkins version of that, right? So you don't have to eat the bread.
Tell me, here's what I want to know, because a lot of folks accuse you of being, more of an establishment Republican guy. Tell me the memorable moment, positive moment from Kamala Harris. Was there one?
I mean, she was more direct on her stance on abortion. I'm pro-life, and so I disagree with her. She's very clear. Trump keeps saying everybody wanted Roe v. Wade overturned. That's just like not true, and that seems like a weird place to go on that one. It's weird to say that Harris did well because she was so much better than Joe Biden.
Right.
But as far as you just crushed this, it was very feelsy, very vague. She started out with her economic policy.
She didn't fall on her face.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it. She didn't fall on her face. So, and that's kind of where I come at this from, that Joe Biden set the bar so low, it was impossible for Kamala Harris not to step over it.
Yes.
I don't think she did anything particularly well. I don't think she said anything particularly well. She just wasn't Joe Biden, which is why she got the 5-point bounce to begin with.
Well, there's 3 words that she hit last night that I do think we're going to hear a lot over the next 2 months, and those are turn the page, which is hilarious because she's the
incumbent.
She's the incumbent. But this is where, again, I don't think that Trump does Trump, right? I don't think he had special preparation. I mean, I know Tulsi Gabbard and that stuff. He was himself. So let's not say Trump did something horrible here. He just left a lot of points on the table where he could have held her to account. But again, I don't think he damaged himself. It's really going to become an election that is, how do you feel about the economy versus how do you feel about Trump? And if you don't like Trump, then people are going to, that's an animating force for Harris. If you like the economy, that's an animating force for Trump.
I don't know if Donald Trump is able to do this. I don't know if it's in his personality. And by the way, I'm well aware of how he has moved the conversation points. And I don't think he gets the credit for that. I think one of the only reasons that we're focused on immigration in the fashion that we're focused on immigration is because of Donald Trump.
Yes.
Right. So, I mean, Republicans were debating themselves about immigration for a long time over my political career.
Right.
And I don't feel like Republicans are debating themselves anymore. They're debating Democrats now about how far to go and what to do and what not to do. But he deserves credit for that. But if you are focused on immigration or crime, and you and I were talking about that off air, or the economy, I think you're predispositioned to vote Trump. What I would love is if Donald Trump did more of what he did last week at the town hall with Sean Hannity when he looked at the people of Pennsylvania and said, look, I understand if you don't like me. I understand if you don't care for me and my style, but you have to vote for me. If you live in Pennsylvania, she is going to destroy your economy because she does not believe in fracking. I don't care what she says now. I'm saying it better than he did, but I don't care what she says now. I don't care what she tries to convince you that she believes now. She does not believe in fossil fuel-based energy production, and she will destroy your economy. Hate me all you want. Vote for me.
Yeah. And I think, and you've said this several times now, I don't have a problem with conservative or Republican saying, I'm not going to vote for Trump. But the folks that Cheney it, like, you're not, that doesn't even follow. It doesn't make sense, right?
It doesn't track.
Right. And
it tracks that you say I'm sitting out.
But I like Trump saying, hey, whatever you think about me, realize that she's going to take this in a direction you don't want to go. And so you're basically shooting yourself in the foot because you don't like me.
Right.
And I think that's a really compelling campaign. I just don't see that. I think Trump's got one note. It's him. He's authentic. He is who he is. And he is that way across every appearance he has. Harris has somehow figured out that she's not the incumbent, that she doesn't believe anything she previously believed.
Sure.
And she's here for you. And that's it.
And she's got all the feels.
Yeah.
Oh, she's got all the feels. Where are you on the issue of it's a little bit of a conspiracy theory, the Bluetooth earrings. Have you heard this one?
Yeah, I saw somebody post that and I'm like, these are Bluetooth. I mean, she didn't actually say anything. She spoke in generalities and like he's a bad guy. So
the compelling part, and I have to go back and watch it, and because I have admitted that I haven't analyzed it and broken it down in the way that I need to. But what I've been told is that She was real animated with facial expressions throughout the first half, and then somebody told her in her Bluetooth earring to stop that, and she stopped it.
Yeah, I kind of saw him the whole time.
One of my followers on YouTube actually sent out, on X sent out a tweet that linked to an actual Kickstarter project that has those earrings, and I A/B'd them, and they look exactly alike. I'm not saying they are. I'm just saying they look very similar, and those are Bluetooth earrings.
My practical concern to this is it is so distracting because I've had this happen all the time with radio where I'm getting feedback in a headset and somebody's trying to talk to me and I'm trying to talk. It is tough. It actually makes you worse. And here's the secret. I think she was going to answer and do the same thing regardless of what the questions were or what he said. It was, this is my game plan.
Well, and when you have allies in the room with you.
Sure.
I mean, David Muir is an ally. This other chick with the big shoulder pads was an ally. When you have those allies, you can kind of anticipate the questions. You can anticipate that even if there's a follow-up, it'll be soft in terms of follow-up. And you're right, it is left to Donald Trump to not only push back against the moderation, to push back against her, but also to force her to follow up. That's a lot of things to manage in that moment.
And Harris did that to him. The moderators asked questions, and then she would be like, answer the question. He didn't do that to her. It was very interesting.
We'll get to your calls momentarily. Steve and Mike and MC and Christine and Kim and Kyle all coming up in a moment on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Well, you got to hear what legendary rocker John Bon Jovi did in Nashville last night. That's coming up at 1:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN 126. Thank you, Ken Weaver. We'll get to your newscast coming up in mere moments. As promised, we'll get to your telephone calls. What did you think of the debate last evening? In the 2 o'clock hour, we're going to shift gears and talk about September 11th. And remember, 23 years later, it is difficult to comprehend that it's been 23 years, but it has. And we will discuss and remember those lives lost and how America was changed on September 11th, 2001. But for now, your calls. Steve, you are next in Nashville. Hello, Steve.
How are you? Love your show.
Thank you.
Listen, before I get into my primary comment, I just wanted to say it's frustrating because 3.5 years ago, they preached unity. They assured us that they could bring the two houses of Congress together, and that they would turn the page back then. And they did nothing, the Democrats, to do any of that. So when I hear you mention just a few minutes ago that a point that Kamala made was to turn the page, it's tough to believe that that's possible or their intention. But the reason I actually called in is Donald Trump is unfortunately not a communicator like Reagan was. I think you have to look at this guy's heart and actually try to understand what he's saying. It appeared to him incredulous as he stared at Kamala and mulled over what she was saying, because none of it, I mean, very little of it was true, and they were very much changed positions. One of the things that Trump said that I very much appreciated, when he was asked what he would do about the Ukraine war, he said, I would stop it. He said that these are lives, these are human beings. And this man he cares about human life. You look at his own kids, you look at how he responds and tenderly cares for those who have lost their lives, the families in the military. And if we have a president that does one thing, and that is talks peace again and says, you know, it matters that we could be entering World War III. He's got a lousy way of sharing it, but I think that's where his heart is at. He cares about the Ukrainian people that are dying. I dare say he probably cares about the young men who are fighting them. A lot of those people don't want to be there. You see what he did with Iran. He tried to stem the cash going to Iran so they wouldn't be able to buy weapons to create havoc in the Middle East. All of that was released, and now Israel has to defend itself, which has hurt the Palestinians. So what has this administration done to even talk about world peace and to bring world peace? Trump is there with that. And I'm an independent. I'm voting for him. I want somebody to talk about world peace. A whole other subject, and I'm not going to get off on this.
You got to go. You got to go quick, Steve. I've only got 15 seconds.
Nobody talks about the environmental damage caused from these wars to the waters and the cities that are destroyed and the natural resources. We talk about environmental friendly, but these wars are destroying our world. So that's all I had to say. I really appreciate you letting me weigh in. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Steve, for the call. I appreciate that. We'll reflect on that in a moment. I do not believe that Kamala Harris had microphone or Bluetooth earrings on, mainly because of the positioning of her earrings, by the way. Because it's so low, I feel like it would have had to have been loud enough for her to be able to hear it in her ear. I'm being serious, okay? And I know it sounds, but they were hanging low on her lobes. So in order for it to be loud enough for her to hear it, I feel like that
Trump could have heard it.
Her lavalier mic would have picked it up, right? I mean, I feel like.
How awkward would that be?
Like,
okay, Kamala, stop looking at me.
Right. He's like, what is that coming out of your ear, Liam? What are they saying to you?
Well, and as we talked about off the air, try just calling somebody on the phone and talking to someone right in front of you.
Right.
That's tough, man.
Well, yeah, and news people on television, man, I mean,
y'all don't know the technology the CIA has.
That is an incredible art, though. I mean, like, there are times when I'm talking to a caller, I'm talking to somebody, and Bell has to say something in my head. And in order to keep your train of thought and actually hear what's being said in your head, that is a talent that I do not believe Kamala Harris has. I do not believe it. It's 1:31 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. We are tracking Hurricane Francine and when it impacts Middle Tennessee and what it's going to do when it does starting tomorrow. Full forecast in 5 minutes. Today, remembrances taking place all across the country, marking 23 years since the September 11th attacks. And in Shanksville, Pennsylvania, where passengers overtook hijackers on United Flight 93. Bells tolled as the names of the victims were read. The top city official in Springfield, Ohio, is responding to what former President Trump said at last night's debate about migrants in the city. Here's Stephen Portnoy.
In a video posted on Facebook, the city manager of Springfield, Ohio, rejects the notion that Haitian migrants in his city have been eating household pets. Brian Heck says that amounts to misinformation. While he says it's true, the influx has posed challenges.
These challenges are primarily due to the pace of the growth rather than the rumors being reported.
Heck calls the amplification of those rumors by politicians disappointing.
Promising data on the economy if you're waiting for an interest rate cut. Here's Elizabeth Schulze.
2.5% annual rate is the lowest level that we've seen since February of 2021. So we're getting close to that 2% inflation target that the Federal Reserve and a lot of policymakers see as a healthy rate of inflation in the economy, a lot better than that 9% peak that we were talking about, just over 2 years ago.
Yeah, the new numbers cementing the likelihood that the Federal Reserve will lower interest rates when it meets next week. Right now in Nashville, legendary rocker John Bon Jovi's getting credit with saving a woman on the pedestrian bridge last night. Channel 4 says Bon Jovi was on the pedestrian bridge around 6 o'clock for a shoot when he approached a woman who appeared to be getting ready to commit suicide by jumping off of the bridge. Bon Jovi reportedly spoke with the woman, convinced her not to end her own life. Both the Nashville Fire Department and the Metro Nashville Police Department responded to the scene. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Hello, friends. Matt Murphy for Kraft Body Scan. So the CT scan technology has made incredible advancements even since Kraft began their organization and their company in 2017. They came to Nashville a little over a year ago, and since that time, I've had the wonderful opportunity to suggest that you get with Kraft, you and your spouse, your loved one, your significant other, and go and get a heart and lung scan from Kraft Body Scan. And it only cost you $149. That is, if you split it up, $75 a person. $149 or thereabouts. $149 for you and your loved one to get the peace of mind that you deserve, knowing that your heart and your lungs are A-OK. I did a full body scan with Kraft Body Scan, could not be happier with it. I got the peace of mind. One of their qualified radiologists looked over my results, gave me my results. The actual scan only takes about 5 to 8 minutes or thereabouts. It's non-invasive. You keep your clothes on, etc. So why not take advantage of this opportunity? Kraft Body Scan. Go to togetherwescan.com. That's togetherwescan.com or call 615-436-1000. 436-1000. Super Talk 99.7 WTN, Matt Murphy. And you, Cameron Smith, with us as well. Ken Weaver's in the newsroom. He's gathering headlines. Bell K's behind the glass, screening your telephone calls. Thank you for being with us on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, everybody, I got a big announcement. Big announcement, everyone. Hey, Bell, can I have the big announcement horn? Thank you. I can feel my entire tongue. Thank you.
Well done.
Thank you. Thank you, Doc. Thank you, Dr. Greaves. Appreciate you. Did I tell you, have I told this story on the air? Did I tell the Hermie story on the air? I can't remember. I was a little drugged up when we first came on the air.
You did.
Do you remember? Okay,
yes,
good.
I was there.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Dr. Hermie.
Yes, and I'm just glad I haven't had to wipe up any drool so far. So
it's all good. And I haven't bitten my. He did say this, and I said I got chubby cheeks, Doc. He said, no, you don't. He goes, yeah, I can see in there that you might bite your cheeks a little bit anyway. Just watch for that while you're all numb. I'm like,
thanks.
I know.
How do you want me to do that?
I don't know what. My cheeks are fat. I don't know. They're not Peter Griffin fat. I had several. So somebody called me yesterday and said, hey, I'm watching Super Talk TV for the first time and you don't look anything like I thought you would look like. And I was like, well, what do I look like? And they said, Peter Griffin from The Family Guy.
Interesting.
All right, so one, that's fine. If they're making a fat joke, I don't mind that. But A, I don't think I'm quite that fat. And B, I just don't think I look like Peter Griffin from The Family Guy.
I have at my big, I'm down 30 pounds on this 75 hard.
You look great.
And I'm dead inside. I don't know how much your soul leaving your body loses the weight, but like, I had a dream about a cookie last night. Like, I want to be honest. I'm remembering all cookies as better than they were because I haven't had any alcohol, cookies, any processed foods in like a couple months. And I've got like 2.5 weeks left on this. And
what are you going to eat? I mean, are you going to treat yourself?
No, I'm not because
just the ones?
I can't.
Why not?
Because I got all that stuff out of my system.
I mean, well, you can't live like that forever.
So at lunch,
what?
2.5 packs a day.
I mean, what?
One cigarette leads to 2.5 packs a day. One cookie is.
I asked for
Shut up, Bell.
unsweet tea at lunch yesterday.
Trying to get him on the cookie train.
And they gave me sweet tea, and I took a sip, and oh my goodness.
Your entire body said, thank you. Thank you, Mr. or Ms. Waitress.
No, it said, you now have diabetes. I mean, it was very like the background of sugar. I have figs in my yard now, and they taste like candy. Why? Because I got rid of all that extra sugar, and so now they taste sweet and wonderful. So I think I'll keep doing it. I'm not going to work out twice a day anymore. I'm going to do probably just like once in a couple times a week, but I'm going to keep the same diet. It's pretty easy.
I am rededicating myself this fall to lose weight because Belle's skinnier than me, and I don't like that. I don't like that a bit. So,
well, I lost weight in my face, but I had a giant homeless beard, and then the wonderful lady that cuts my beard cut it a lot, and then I was like, oh, my face went away too.
That's nice,
and it was weird.
That's fun. All right, back to you. Back to your calls. MC is next. Hello, MC. How are you? Thank you for calling.
Hey, thank you so much for taking my call.
Of course.
You were saying earlier about the Haitian refugees in Springfield, and I've been to Haiti, so I kind of, it's not a stretch for me to imagine, because what you said earlier about, animals being fair game, these are very poor people, so it's not a stretch for me to believe that that's actually happening in Springfield. And so there's that. And then I was wondering, can I add one other thing about the abortion issue?
Well, of course.
Real quick. Well, I was listening on ACLJ this morning, and they were talking about there are 3 states, what Trump said about post-birth abortion, and the semantics, the verbiage isn't quite right, but he's not wrong in what he's saying. There were 3 states, Maryland, California, and New Mexico, that passed perinatal laws, or that introduced perinatal legislation that prohibits basically the investigation of the death of an infant up to 28 days post-birth. Now, one of those states, Maryland, was not able to pass that legislation, but the other 2 did. That's California and New Mexico. And then there are also 7 states, if I'm not mistaken, that have no gestational limitations on abortion. So that is not untrue, that means up to the date of birth. So, and then might also add that according to FRC's website, there were 0 Democrats that voted for the Born Alive Protection Act. So I just wanted to throw that out there, and that their broadcast, like yours, is amazing, and theirs is amazing. So I just, if anybody wanted to go check their stats out, they had a pretty good follow-up and post-debate analysis.
Well, and on the issue of abortion, I think you win that argument if you focus on third trimester abortions. You don't really have to get into the weeds on the processes by which an aborted baby, if it comes out alive, could potentially not be given life-saving measures, which is what he was talking about. He said West Virginia. He meant Virginia. He meant Ralph Northam, and some of the commentaries there. By the way, I have a question for you.
Sure.
Because if I don't ask you this question, Ray is going to drive down here and beat both of us viciously.
You can ask it. I've already answered it because Ray already asked it, but yeah, I did it last time I was on there.
Matt, are you afraid to ask Cameron on the air? No, I'm not afraid. Do you want Donald Trump to win the election?
Yes. I mean, the idea...
Ray, and by the way, Ray, hold on, just for the edification of the audience. Ray has asked this question 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times on the super text line. Ask Cameron if he wants Donald Trump to win the election.
I did just answer.
And he just answered yes. Ray, do you believe him? Do you believe him?
Until now. Yeah. Well, here's what I mean, and I've got a column. I put this stuff out there so everybody can read what I think. I look at where Donald Trump is now like a 1990s Democratic platform. Like, that's where he is, and on a number of issues. But Democrats have moved to insano land on a lot of issues.
Yes, today's Republicans are yesterday's Democrats. Today's Democrats are yesterday's
and
socialists.
So this is where I have, like, I don't
there
like...
There are no conservatives anymore.
Right. And so I am a dork, and I'm like, I still think we shouldn't spend outside our means.
Excuse me. Bell, mark that. Cut it, save it. Thank you.
Yes. And I think things like fiscal conservatism still matters. Understand why it's not popular.
I mean, not like, popular.
I get into, hey, we should really change regulatory process and procedure to rein in the regulatory state. I've lost those arguments, right? But between these two.
But did not Donald Trump recently say, do you not put any weight in him saying that he would like to see Elon Musk, as an example, be a government efficiency expert and come in and right-size the federal government? I mean, he said that.
I did. And I mean,
that's actually a conservative position.
Right. And the GAO already exists that puts out these reports, and it just doesn't happen.
The GAO is a part of the bureaucracy, which is a part of the problem.
Sure. But presumably the people...
But the GAO doesn't do anything.
But presumably the people we elect do.
But we don't, sadly, we don't elect people to be conservative.
Agreed. And that's my point. And so
when conservatives get elected, or so-called conservatives get elected, they go into office and then they switch their priorities to do more conservative things, spending money that we don't have.
Exactly. And I agree with that. So I don't get excited about supporting more of that. I called out the IVF mandate and was like, that's dumb.
I didn't like it either.
We hate that. And so I'm going to be honest about what I see. But between the two, you cannot argue that even if it's the light version of some of her policies, what she's pushing before she became like super moderate, like 5 seconds ago, was not good for the country.
I appreciate all of you being so patient, like Mike in South Pittsburgh. God bless you, Mike. Thank you. The floor is yours, sir.
How you doing, Matt?
Mike, I appreciate the amount of time that you've grown older waiting on the hold, and I thank you for it, and I'm sorry that it took so long to get you.
Hey, buddy, I'm retired.
I like your attitude, Mike. Thank you, man.
What else am I going to do? No, I'm all for a second debate. But there's got to be an independent organization to fact-check the first debate to see who was lying, because there was a lot of smoke being blown on that stage last night.
Mm-hmm. Was a politician talking?
Yeah.
Then guess what?
Hold on to your wallet.
Yeah, their lips were moving, yes.
I didn't, and I said this off air, I didn't like the fact that they fact-checked anyone, particularly Trump, in real time. What do you think about that?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, like everybody says, it was a 3 against 1, as usual.
I don't. The idea of fact checking would bother me a lot less. Thank you, Mike, for the call. The idea of fact checking would bother me less if they did it on both sides. And there were several opportunities where they could have done it with Kamala Harris. I mean, the easiest example would be she referred to the bloodbath comment. Mm-hmm. They could have easily said, well, obviously, it's been well reported that Donald Trump was referring to the economy with regard to the automobile industry when he made that comment. Charlottesville, there were ample opportunities for them to do that. Yeah. They chose not to do that, which lends itself to them positioning themselves in her corner.
And they shouldn't have done it in the first place. I mean, when you say, we're going to fact check, well, unless you do it completely even and catch everything in real time, that, for example,
you're going to be criticized.
Harris was like, this is the worst economy we were handed since the Great Depression. That was false.
Yeah, of course it is.
I mean, and they could have said that, but they didn't catch it, or they just ignored it. And that puts them in a bad position. If they just ask the questions, ask them to answer the questions, that's a good moderator.
And trust that the people of the United States of America are smart enough to figure it out for themselves. Yeah. They don't trust the intelligence of the general public, though. Let us go to, who is next? A lot of you have been holding for a long time, and I appreciate Christine holding for as long as Christine has held in Dixon. Thank you for your call, Christine.
Hi, I know you got a lot of flack for saying Trump's performance wasn't all that great. Well, I love Trump, but I felt like he could have done better. He took the bait too often. He really, really needed to just let her go and show how stupid she is, because that woman is an idiot. So that's my take on it. It does not do my heart any good to say that either.
Well, Christine, I'm here. Yeah. I'm just listening to you. I'm giving you the floor. Cameron has come out a little more forcefully than I have, and I just want to reiterate, I'm not hedging my bet when I say this, that I was at a huge debate watch party. I did not absorb it in the fashion that I should have. I was getting 2 cavities filled this morning, so I'm at a little bit of a disadvantage in as much as I want to sit down and I want to absorb it, which I will do this afternoon. And I'll be better prepared to offer an official comment on whether or not. I mean, I don't think Trump did anything wrong. I think what Cameron was saying was there were a few opportunities where he could have nabbed her.
Yeah,
and he didn't.
Well, it's the immigration, inflation, foreign wars thing, and he was defending his positions versus attacking the failed policies of the administration.
And the point can be illustrated like this: and Cameron said it. You win the immigration conversation every single time and twice on Sundays. The presence of tens of thousands of Haitian illegal aliens in a town that only has, less than 60,000 people in it total, that's a big deal. If we start debating how many of them are eating cats or ducks, and one side says this isn't happening, and I say it is happening, well, we're not really talking about immigration anymore, are we?
It's a distraction.
And so it can become a distraction. I understand that it's a big deal if that's happening, because it's illustrative of how bad the situation has become. But if you give the media an opportunity to ding Trump, they're going to do that. If you give them an opportunity to ding conservatives, they're going to do that. And that's kind of handing them a little bit of an
But that's the strategy, right? Make it about Trump. Don't make it about your failed policies.
Right.
And that's the distraction, because they're saying he's not truthful on the dog eating.
Grant and Rita and John and Aaron and Kyle, not necessarily in that order. It's 152 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Oh.
2 o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. And we've got a traffic problem right now in Sumner County. It is blocking the left lane of 65 northbound right after Louisville Highway. That's the Highway 31 West exit 98 in Millersville. Hurricane Francine has Louisiana in its crosshairs, headed for an expected landfall this evening, likely as a Cat 1 or Cat 2 storm. Expected to impact Middle Tennessee tomorrow morning. Here's Dan Thomas.
Here is the official track. Max winds at 90, crosses the coast as we get into this evening, and then pushes up the Mississippi River Valley. The track hasn't changed. It will slow down and dissipate in our area sometime Friday into the weekend, so I think the rain chance is highest Thursday and Friday, and it's starting to go down. There's a little more sunshine starts to move back in as we head to the weekend, but still occasional showers and storms.
Can't rule out severe weather like flash flooding, damaging winds, and tornadoes. Got the full forecast in 4 minutes. Today, remembrances taking place all across the country, marking 23 years since the September. Karen Travers has the latest on how President Biden marked it.
President Biden and Vice President Harris stood together at the site of the World Trade Center in Lower Manhattan Wednesday morning. They were joined by former President Donald Trump and his running mate, Senator J.D. Vance. Handshakes between the president and Trump and the vice president and Trump. That encounter coming just hours after their contentious debate. No speeches at this event, just the reading of the names of those who died 23 years ago on this day, and the tolling of bells to mark the moments when the planes hit the World Trade Center and when the towers fell.
Right now in our nation's capital, Speaker Mike Johnson's canceled a vote on a funding bill that would keep the government open after some Republicans walked back support, even though it included a provision to require proof of citizenship before registering to vote. And the number of women getting their tubes tied has increased since the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade, says Sherry Preston.
It's not entirely surprising, says the author of a research letter published in JAMA, the Journal of the American Medical Association. Research showing that the number of women asking for tubal ligations went up in the months following the Dobbs decision and rose the most, 3% each month, in states where abortion bans are the most strict. Other research has shown sterilizations like vasectomies have also increased since Dobbs.
Justin Timberlake's made a deal to resolve his DWI case in the Hamptons. The pop star is expected to appear in Sag Harbor Village Court on Friday to plead guilty to pay a fine. He was leaving a hotel in June when he was stopped for running a stop sign and swerving into the oncoming lane. The officer smelled booze on Timberlake's breath, according to a police report. Meanwhile, remember this?
You made me happy.
R&B legend Frankie Beverly has died, best known for this 1981 hit. He was active late into his life, recently attending the Juneteenth celebration at the White House. His family in a statement saying, "We are navigating feelings of sorrow, reflection, and remembrance." Beverly was 77. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
You know, I often feel awkward talking to you men about bedroom activity and bedroom issues, but it is important that you know that there are solutions that weren't available to granddad, weren't available to great-granddad, weren't available back in the day that aren't available to you now, because half the men listening to me will have some sort of, how do I say this, performance issue at some point in their lives. What do you do about that? I want you to go to the expert, whether it's general energy, general feeling of malaise, or if it's more specific to intimate relationships. It's time to get answers through the Tennessee Men's Clinic, and they can provide them. Men, there's no shame in this game. Let's go, let's get it done, let's get it handled, and let's move on from it and get back to life again. Whether it's getting to the gym and getting some good gains there, whether it's working out, whether it's out in the yard, or whether it's those intimate times with your loved one. We want you to perform at your peak level. Let's call Tennessee Men's Clinic to make sure that's happening. TennesseeMen'sClinic.com online, TennesseeMen'sClinic.com, or 615-208-9090. 208-9090 for Tennessee Men's Clinic. It is 2:06. We'll get into a discussion on September 11th about September 11th in just a moment on the Matt Murphy Radio Show on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. We welcome you back to the show. One more hour to go before we hand off to Brian Wilson in the drive. Ken Weaver is always back in the newsroom, gathering headlines, as always, presenting those twice an hour or when news breaks. We appreciate him. Bell Case screening your telephone calls. Cameron Smith's been with us for the full show because I was not sure whether I would be able to answer the bell. I'll be honest with you.
You seem better now.
I feel better now. I feel a little more clear-headed. I had the gas. I love the gas. I was not familiar with the gas at the dentist's office until I came to Tennessee. Is that a Tennessee thing? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't remember getting the gas back in Alabama.
So I didn't get it for basic dental work, but for when I had my wisdom teeth removed, that was when. But now some folks, that's normal. Like, you know, we do the gas when you get your teeth worked on, so you just chill out and
I did not, no one brought it up for the cleaning.
Right.
Last week, but for this, they're like, hey, you want oh yeah, let's go. Let's make that happen. And my attendant said, I don't see where you got the gas last time. And I said, well, I beg to differ. I most certainly did. She goes, oh yeah, you did. Thank you very much. Let's go.
Yep.
Turn it on. Make it happen. There's only a certain amount that they give you though. Unfortunate. You know. Anyway, I'm back and I'm ready to go. So let's finish up this because I asked you this question offline. I want to get back to calls, but I'm going to ask you online. What moves? I throw up in my mouth just asking this question. What moves the needle more? Last night's debate or Taylor Swift endorsing Kamala Harris?
The debate, and it's because Harris is able to present herself to the American people. And I know that this sounds insane, that the sitting vice president of the United States is still introducing herself to America. But we've seen ample evidence that folks are, oh, here's who she is. Oh, here's what she stands for. The Swift endorsement, I mean, it is a big deal. Most popular celebrity on earth. But I just don't know. Nobody's told me, does this count for a point? Is it a half a point? How much does it matter, and where does it matter?
You know, we were doing our pregame debate special last evening, and Dan Mandis of Nashville's Morning News brought up the idea that Taylor Swift might be getting ready to endorse. And Chris Hand said, no, I don't think she will, because I think she's smarter than that, and she'll take the Jordan philosophy, Republicans buy shoes too. Obviously, she did endorse last evening. I think it was a setup. I mean, a setup in as much as I think it was pre-decided that she would do it last night in anticipation of Kamala Harris either doing well and this will trampoline that good performance, right, or it would cover up a poor performance. One way or the other, it's going to help her.
Yeah.
Right?
There's no lose there for Harris.
Right.
And, I mean, good grief, Swift trolled with the childless cat lady thing, which, you know, if you're going to do it, go hard. And she did. And so we'll see. But, I mean, it's sort of like what percentage of Taylor Swift fans are not Democrats already? And of that percentage, who's going to listen to her and flip their vote to Democrat? I just don't know the answer to that.
I choose to live in a reality where it doesn't move the needle. And maybe I'm the one that is oblivious. Maybe I'm the one being naive. But you guys know where I'm at on endorsements, generally speaking. I think that they are for lazy or stupid people.
Yeah.
And anyone that's waiting on a Matt Murphy or the Tennessean or any individual to tell them how they're voting so that, I mean, I appreciate so very much that you value my opinion that you would want to know.
Right.
That's one thing. But, you know, this ego-driven, narcissistic, I will present my endorsements coming up in just a few days. I mean, it's just...
You know who I endorse? People I know that they're my friends and I support them. But that's it. I don't do well, let me write this thing that it's a huge deal for somebody I don't know.
Right.
I mean, good grief. Nobody cares really at the end of the day, especially on national.
And you know what? I'll offer you opinion and I'll give you the facts.
Right,
and let's do our own homework. Let's think with the brain that God gave you. So I have this image in my mind of a 28-year-old female. I'm just telling you how it comes to me in my mind. Like a 28-year-old female that is obsessed with Taylor Swift, that uses all of their additional income, whatever income that they can scrape together to buy I don't know how much tickets are, $500, $600, I don't know how much they are.
Very expensive.
To go to a Taylor Swift concert, to buy all the gear, to buy all the swag. And they have no interest in politics. They have no interest in voting. But Tay-Tay says that she's voting for Kamala. They have no idea what any ideological position this woman has, and they'll go out and vote just because Tay-Tay said so. It makes me sick.
Let me put it in a different context for you and I. Kirby Smart endorses Raphael Warnock in Georgia. Does it matter?
No.
You don't think so?
To me?
No, I'm not saying to you. I know you don't move like that, but would it matter in the election?
I would hope not. I mean, I would hope not. I would hope that it would not matter if Nick Saban came out and said, I want all Alabama fans to vote for Kamala Harris. Do you think that would move the needle for Alabama fans?
Maybe a little, but that's what I'm getting at. I don't think it's a groundswell that says
Taylor Swift is the best example of how it could, but there are others, and that's what we're doing. We're giving you other types.
So I think Kirby Smart or Nick Saban, you're looking at, okay, it might swing literally tens of thousands of votes. But I think for a Taylor Swift, are you really going to tell me, let's just say hypothetically, there's, I don't know, 100 million, 150 million votes cast or something like that total. How many of those does her endorsement move from one column to the other?
I don't think she moves from one column to the other. I think she motivates people getting off the couch and going and doing the thing.
So folks who are already inclined to vote for Harris, she's now activating them to...
Yes.
Okay.
I think that's what's going on. I don't think she moves somebody from Trump to Harris, do you? I think she just motivates people to get off their butts and go vote.
Yeah, I don't know. I just...
The uninformed, the uninitiated.
Yeah, and maybe that's... But I got to think, Trump is already, and I've said this again and again and again, that Trump is the most motivating thing for Democrats already. They hate the guy. And so if you're a Democrat, you're coming out and saying, The big variable this time around that's how Trump can win is the economy.
You know what you're saying? And I think I agree with this. And once again, it's not the endorsement. It really remains to be seen if Taylor Swift moves the needle in how engaged she is in the process. Saying, I endorse Kamala Harris, I'm voting for her on September 10th is one thing. But getting out and campaigning and standing on stage with her, I think that would be a different thing. And that would scare me more than the endorsement.
Yeah, but I just keep coming back to the same thing. The economy and inflation, it was Renee who said it earlier in the show. Well, I'm a single mom. I'm working my tail off. This is scary, this thought that Harris could win and we get more of Joe Biden's economic policies. That's who's going to vote for Trump, regardless of whether they like Trump or not. The folks who are not going to vote for Trump are just, I can't stand him. Like nobody is going to say that the policies under the Biden-Harris administration have produced better economic, immigration, foreign affairs solutions than Trump.
Wendy has written in on the membersnutrition.com super text line and says, here's the problem with endorsements. Cameron Smith endorsed Trump today, so who are we supposed to vote for now?
I just said that.
Well done, Wendy.
I said I wanted him to win because it's better for everybody economically. Like I'm an economic guy that I care about that, but I'm going to say I don't like my choices. I've said that repeatedly. Like, come on, give me a better candidate. And I just...
Well, you had a chance to get a better candidate.
Yes, and I lost.
And you failed.
Yes, miserably.
Grant is next. Grant, thank you for your patience. How are you?
Pretty good, Matt. How you doing?
I'm well.
Thanks for taking my call.
Of course.
Appreciate having a great voice like yours here in Nashville.
Thank you, man.
And for the record, you don't sound fat on radio.
Oh, well, I appreciate that. I don't feel fat on radio either.
And I'm with Cameron a little bit on, I like Trump. I'm voting for him, but he's kind of tough to swallow sometimes. And it could be easy things for him to change my mind on that. But I'll still vote for him. But just on the moderators, y'all talked about fact checking. What were y'all referencing? Fact checking.
They were doing. Last night they were doing some fact checking in real time. In that they would insert themselves. Like Donald Trump made the comment, for example, on abortion. He made the comment that in some of these states they're allowing abortion after birth. I think is what he said. And then the Davis lady came in afterwards and said, actually, that doesn't happen anywhere in the United States of America, Mr. President. Moving on.
And he did that with crime statistics. He said crime soaring in the United States. And then the moderator got in and said, actually, the FBI statistics say it's not. And, then he was like, that's fraudulent stuff from the FBI. But that's the kind of stuff they were doing. They were tangling him up with third-party information.
Oh, okay. I caught the last half of it. I didn't catch the first half because the wife and I were out. But what I saw was them asking Kamala to fact check Donald Trump, which I thought was interesting on the question of whether he conceded to Joe Biden, and then he said his spiel, and then David turned to Kamala and said, "Well, what do you think about that? Do you agree with Donald Trump?" It's like, it's just softball questions, and they're just mouthpieces for the Democratic Party. I wish we should vet, like we ask questions to the candidates, we should be asking questions to the moderators before, they give these.
Well, what I would have liked to see, and maybe this is bad debate advice, and Grant, thank you for the call. I kind of would have liked to have seen Donald Trump address it. It was like, do you think in the real world for Trump to say to Muir, like when Muir fact checks him on the FBI, say, well, and he could say, well, actually, David, the FBI relies on major cities providing them the crime statistics, accurate crime data in order to absorb that into the metric. And these major metropolitan areas aren't doing that right now. But
I'm not concerned I'm concerned that that's not reflective of the overall country.
Right, but then I would have liked to have heard but by the way, am I debating you now, David?
Yeah.
Or am I debating Kamala Harris?
Right.
Because I'm happy to debate you if you want, or you can ask questions and we can debate each other. I would have kind of liked to have seen that. Just address the elephant in the room. It's like, what are you doing? Are you debating me or am I debating her?
Yeah. And I think the fact-checking aspect, it's just, even on the election stuff, I'm like, this is a setup. David Muir asked, I'm looking at the transcript right now, are you acknowledging that you lost in 2020?
See,
who cares? That's a trap.
And God bless Trump. I'm not dinging Trump, guys. Well, I am kind of when I say the answer to that I would have liked to have heard, and I said it last night to several people around me is, David, I am not interested in 2020. I'm not interested in talking about 2020. I'm interested in talking about 2024. I'm interested in what happens now and in the future, not what happened in the past. The past is the past. Let's move on.
Yes. And Muir, as the moderator,
you don't take the debate,
basically said, come on, tell me more about how you didn't lose in 2020, which is a loser for Trump with independent voters. And so Trump's got to know that and say, hey, to my folks, I'm going to do that, but I'm not playing your game.
Ethan writes in and says, wow, Murphy, you're on point when it comes to debates. You must be a master debater. Boom. Well done, Ethan. Actually, it's Ethan and several others of you. Maybe David had Chris Wallace in his ear, writes 4209. That's possible. Rita is next in Springfield. Thank you for your call, Rita. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Wonderful.
I noticed that she had a smirk and her hands crossed in front of her, just like Hillary. That was kind of interesting. I didn't think anybody won that debate last night. But one thing I was disappointed in Trump, and it may have been because he was afraid he would disturb the people on the fence. He turned the question. He didn't answer the question about how are you going to get rid of the illegal immigrants. And he either didn't have an answer or he didn't want to answer, and he did a Democrat thing and turned it around and didn't answer it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of with you. I want to broaden this question out, and I'll ask you, Rita, and then I'll ask Cameron. Do you think these debates, do they matter as much as they used to?
No, they're not, because they're not a real debate. I watched it for maybe 40 minutes, and then I thought, this is every talking point I've heard on every news station for a year and a half or whatever, and I'm done. I have other things to do. I didn't want my blood pressure to go up, so I turned it off. But I would have liked for him to answer her on that question, and I think he was afraid to.
No, I don't disagree with that. What about you, Cameron? Do you think, and thank you, Rita, for the call, nerds like us, we dissect every word, every moment, every twitch, every hand gesture. I feel like people that have already decided who they're voting for were watching. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know that there were that many truly independent people, because I don't feel like those people are paying attention. Maybe I'm wrong.
We're 2 months out. They're starting to pay attention. The thing that's been the hardest for me to realize, and it's actually listeners on this station that have helped me with this, Dan Mandis, he's like, look, man, you understand policy. That's great. But like, if you are just rifling off policies and hear about facts and figures and stuff, but you don't engage the emotional appeal, then you lose your audience. And that's the truth in these debates. Do they matter? Ask Joe Biden, because they clearly matter when you tank them, when you do horribly. I would say last night, I know CNN did their exit polling and were like, the numbers are flipped. It was just as bad for Trump as it was for Joe Biden. No, it wasn't, because Trump's not going to drop out of the race. This was a situation where Trump was Trump. Harris did better than people expected and stood toe-to-toe with Trump, and she'll get a little bump out of that, maybe a little bump out of the Swift thing, but we're back at the same spot. I don't think it radically changes anything.
615-737-9986. We're going to finish this up, and we'll talk 9/11 coming up right after Ken Weaver's newscast. But for those of you holding, I will give you ample opportunity to speak your mind on the Matt Murphy Show with Cameron Smith on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I believe that Jeff Eddy and Efficient Heating and Cooling should be the first call that you make for any of your heating and or cooling needs. All summer long, I've been encouraging you, if your AC is not running properly, I say if your AC is not ready, call Jeff Eddy and Efficient Heating and Cooling, because that rhymes. But now it's time to turn the page, if you will, and talk about your heater. Because, yes, September becomes October, and before you know it, the cool conditions will be here on a consistent basis, and you'll want to turn that heater on. And if it's not been on since last, February, March, you're probably going to smell that smell, right? That burning odor of dust and dander and nastiness burning off the coils of the heater. You don't want any of that in your life. You want to make sure that the ductwork is nice and clean. You want to make sure the heater's running as it should. Get a maintenance done on your heater before the performance goes down or before you have a problem with Jeff Eddy and Efficient Heating and Cooling. And reminder, never will you be charged over $125 for a residential maintenance call, no matter how many units you might have. Jeff Eddy, and oftentimes it's less than that. Jeff Eddy and Efficient Heating and Cooling, your Elite Pro partner with Rheem. Give them a call today at 615-784-4424, 784-4424, or efficienthvac.net.
tracking Hurricane Francine and when it starts impacting Middle Tennessee. Speaker Mike Johnson has pumped the brakes in our nation's capital. These stories and more at 2:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you much, Mr. Ken Weaver. It's 27 minutes after the hour. As promised, we're going to move on I think, who was it? The super texter coming in so fast. Oh, Anna wrote, "Turn the page." I think she was reflecting on, a theme of Kamala Harris's and reflecting on turning the page to 9/11. We'll talk about 9/11 coming up in just a couple of minutes. But first, I wanted to give you an opportunity to speak your mind. Kyle is next in Nashville. Hey, Kyle.
Thanks for the call. I'll be right.
Hey,
Matt. How you doing?
Good.
Hey, so what I wanted to talk about was a few things. I think that something that Donald Trump could have done much better is, I think that it's time to he can still be a strong leader, but I think he can be more respectful. And that's no secret, obviously. Saying things like millions and millions of murderers and rapists and criminals are coming in. There's millions and millions of illegal immigrants coming in. I guess maybe that's a crime, so they are criminals. And then there's a lot of people who may fall into that category of murderers and rapists, but they're not all. There's a lot of them that are really good people. Can't blame them for wanting to better themselves. I would want to as well. I don't think that he's going to persuade anybody to that's already voting for him not to, by being more respectful. But aside from that, getting to the comment about the ducks, I think we can all agree it was pretty silly. Made him look pretty silly. But I don't necessarily disagree with him, what he was saying. And here's why. And I know this is kind of off topic. I'm an outdoorsman. I love fishing. I love hunting. I love doing all this stuff. If I'm to poach a wild animal that's out of season, they're going to take my gun. I'm going to get a ticket if I get caught. If, we'll say, someone who doesn't have a hunt and fishing license, doesn't have a social security number, does it, they can't get any money out of that person. They can't get anything from them. There will be no enforcement on that person.
Well,
and,
I do, but you're better served. I mean, instead of, you can focus on the killing of the ducks or the killing of the cats or whatever and eating cats. But what about this? You have tens of thousands of illegal alien migrants coming into the United States of America. And you know what some of them are doing? They're like bathing in ponds in city parks. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I'm not.
I mean, it's the overall degradation of our communities based on an influx of these people. Many of them who are just looking for a better life, and like you, I don't begrudge them necessarily looking for that better life.
Yeah, absolutely, and I 100% agree with that. I hate it because, like I said, I'm an outdoorsman and I fish Percy Priest a lot. And to be honest, sometimes I don't feel super safe putting my boat in there.
Yeah,
I feel like I'm going to get my windows broken out. When I troll around the shore, beating up the bank a little bit, I see, and one could assume, but I see a lot of Modelo and Corona bottles.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows? Maybe I'm just
I get it. No, I
get what I'm saying.
Well, no, I do. And I'll give you another example too, Colin. I'm sorry to rush you, but I do have to run to the news, and Ken's waiting to deliver the newscast. Here's another example. David Muir, obviously it's a question designed to bait Trump, and they shouldn't necessarily be designing these questions this way. But do you have any regrets about January 6th? I mean, I'm not Donald Trump. I don't bring to the table the positives that he brings to the table. But how about this for an answer? David, are you asking me if I regret that January 6th happened in the way that it did? Of course I do. But I wasn't responsible for it. Nancy Pelosi was responsible for it. So you answered the question. You said that, do I regret that it happened? Yes, I can regret something happened and not take responsibility for it happening.
Or if he just said, I wouldn't have changed any of the things I did, just say no.
Right.
That's it. And that's where the I must explain it gets people in trouble.
Ken Weaver's got the newscast on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. trying to stay on time. It's so hard.
We are tracking Hurricane Francine is set to make landfall this evening in Louisiana, but Channel 4's Dan Thomas here in Middle Tennessee is talking about its impact here.
1 to 4 inches of rain likely in the mid-state with this. Max winds now at 90, and notice the track has not changed from the last couple of days. It looks to go toward Memphis. This is Friday morning, Memphis, and then Friday evening just north of Memphis. So it will hang around, giving us those chances for showers and storms on multiple days.
Yeah, full forecast coming up in 5 minutes. Remembrances taking place all across the country, marking 23 years since the September 11th attacks. This was at the end of a ceremony in New York City. Meantime, in Nashville this morning, Fire Chief William Swan.
And I think for us to remember this is important, especially for our future generations. It's hard to believe that 23 years have passed. But one thing that I really think is significant in any type of emergency, especially something of this magnitude, it brought everybody together. It's not to get divided by hatred or fear, but to come together because we are stronger as one unit.
Right now in our nation's capital, I'm seeing reports Speaker Mike Johnson's canceled a vote on a funding bill that would keep the government open after some Republicans walked back support, even though it included a provision to require proof of citizenship to register to vote. That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
The Dr. Gill Center for Back, Neck, and Chronic Pain Relief is located in Franklin, but anywhere within the sound of my voice, it is worth the drive, especially if you're experiencing pain right now. Where does it hurt? Is it back pain, lower, middle, upper, neck pain, knee pain, hip pain, elbow pain? I mean, wherever it hurts, the Dr. Gill Center has a solution for you. It all started years ago when Dr. Gill first came into our community. He brought with him spinal decompression therapy. And now just about every clinic has it. Well, Dr. Gill was the originator. He brought that brand new technology to Middle Tennessee, and he has been helping people as a result for over 3 decades. Now, he's got the Class 5 laser system, the red light therapy, spinal decompression I mentioned, all designed to do basically one thing: avoid getting under the knife, avoid the surgery, and get pain-free without having to take pills or without having to block the pain with needles. That's what it's all about. Let's get it together with the Dr. Gill Center for Back, Neck, and Chronic Pain Relief in Franklin. Call them today at 882-4838. That's 615-882-4838 for the Dr. Gill Center. You hear me talking a lot about the Glock store. It's the best place to buy a Glock, the best place to learn how to shoot your Glock, the best place to shoot your Glock, the best place to compete if you are of an experience level where you want to do that with low light and no light competitions. They do those every month. Well, what about this one? Glock Store, the place to hold your next gathering or party. How about that? They've got a VIP room that you've got to see. Oh, man. And that VIP room is adjacent to one of their shooting rooms, and you'll get an instructor with your party. So he'll have, or she will have, lots of great games for you, lots of great activities for you for any experience level. Friends, get your party started with the Glock Store. You can call them to talk about the nature of your party at 615-682-6565. That's 682-6565. The Glock Store. You got to see it to understand what we're talking about. Minutes away from the airport and worth the drive from anywhere. It's the one and only Glock Store. All right, going super fast before we get comment from Cameron. And if Ken Weaver wants to weigh in, I would be curious where Ken was and what he was doing on 9/11 23 years ago. But before we do that, let's get clear these lines and get to as many of these folks as we possibly can, like Tim in the Borough. He's been holding on. Hello, Tim.
Hey, how you doing? I saw something this morning that kind of gave me a little bit of glimmer of hope, and you've probably seen this. One of the channels has a pollster who takes 100 Republicans, 100 independents, and 100 Democrats and puts them in an audience together, and they all have these little dials, and they follow the debate live. One of the things that I saw that really, really impressed me was, of course, the statements that Donald Trump makes. The red line goes through the roof, and the Democrat line goes to the bottom, and same vice versa. But one thing I noticed was the yellow line, which is the independents, went right along with the red line and even topped it in many cases. But this is the real interesting one. When he started talking about the price of eggs and bacon and bread and that kind of thing, the line of the blue line of the Democrats that would normally drop way down maintained a straight line across. So that tells me it's the economy, stupid.
Yeah.
These people, even the Democrats, are realizing the economy is the problem here. And with partying with all that high, they compared the independents with Hillary, and they weren't even near where they are in the debate last night with Trump. So that gave me a glimmer of hope, thinking, okay, if the Democrats are saying, hey, it's economy, and all the independents are at Trump's level or above, this could be a good win for Trump.
Tim, great call, great analysis. I appreciate you making it. I want to know when the mainstream media debunked the, quote, myth that Haitians weren't eating cats. Because I'm looking at a variety of different sources, and the leftist news organizations like #NeverCNN, they're calling it a debunked myth. And I'm like, well, when did it get debunked? I mean, I understand that we might not have the data or the evidence that we can to further it as a fact, but I'm a little bit confused when it got debunked. Anyway, Wayne is next in Nashville. We'll get you and Joe, and that'll be it for this discussion on the debate. Hey, Wayne, how are you?
Doing great. Matter of fact, if I was any better, I'd be twins. But what I want to make a comment about is when a person is asked a question, typically there's a yes or a no answer. And at no point last night did either side give a yes or no question. So I would like to see them put in, because you can never get a yes or no answer out of a politician. They always give some convoluted word salad that never makes any sense. And Kamala, she's the queen of that, we know. But I would like for them to put in there that you give us a yes or no answer and then explain why you gave us a yes or no answer. Don't try to explain to us about whatever it is you want to try to explain to us without telling us where you stand. And I think that's the biggest problem we have in politics, is that you cannot, because they don't want to be nailed down to anything. They just don't want to be nailed. They want to be able to gaslight you, keep the curtains pulled around the wizard, because if they give you a yes or no answer, then that's concrete. And these people don't like to deal in concrete; they like to deal in quicksand. It's so.
By these people, you mean Kamala Harris?
I mean Kamala Harris. Even Trump he didn't give yes or no, but he was more direct about where he stood on things. But the problem I saw with the debate last night is that every time Trump was asked a question, he had to kind of go back and clarify something that one of the other three had said that wasn't true. So he kept trying to.
So I don't mean to rush you, but bottom line, you want more direct yes or no answers to yes or no questions.
I think they should require yes or no. If we ask you a question, you don't say yes or no,
you don't get a lot of yes or no questions in a debate format.
Well, I think
there's not a tendency to do that because the questioner is attempting to solicit. They ask open-ended questions to get a more robust response.
Well, I think you get a robust response out of somebody. You ask them a question, they say, yes, that's what I believe in, whether it's abortion or whether it's illegal immigration. You tell me yes or no. Are you for or against? And then you can give me the privilege.
I'll throw you a question here. Donald Trump, they ask him, do you support abortion? How's he supposed to answer that question? Yes or no?
He's supposed to answer it with a yes or no. Does he support abortion? He can answer that yes or no with saying, no, I do not support just across the board assembly line abortion.
I don't think that's accurate. So I mean, he has to explain a little bit more about where he is.
A little bit more of a subtle answer, because do you support immigration?
Well, maybe the moderator could say, do you support abortion at the moment of birth? And his answer would be clearly a no. But when they try to muddy, when they try to muddy the water,
they asked her that question, and she said, "I support Roe v. Wade."
Yes, this is a political pivot. Is what he's talking about.
Right. No. I mean, I get it. You want more direct responses from politicians, and I understand your frustration that you're not getting them. Joe is next in Oak Hill. Joe, you're the final word on the debate from last night. What's up with you?
Young man, you're doing a good job.
Well, thank you, Joe. I appreciate that.
After 5 minutes, I went over to the Yankee-Rangers baseball game. How many times has Miss Harris been indicted?
How many times has Kamala Harris been indicted? None to my knowledge, Joe.
How many times has Joe Biden been indicted?
None.
None to my knowledge, Joe.
Sir, we looked at a man last night. He's tired. He's weak. The Democrat government is beating this man mentally. He showed it last night.
You talking about David Muir?
I think he's talking
about Donald Trump.
I knew that. I was making a joke.
The Democrats have won? Is that what you're saying?
Sir, I'm retired from criminal court, 15 years. This government...
As a defendant?
The Democrat government...
As a defendant?
No.
Well, what did you do at criminal court? How am I supposed to know? What did you do?
I worked for a judge. I was his head court officer.
Oh, okay. All right.
I worked all the subpoenas.
Okay.
The last trial I worked was a Vanderbilt rape case.
Okay, so that experience gives you the knowledge that that Trump is beaten? That it's over?
The government is beating this man to death mentally.
Okay.
All right. Is that it?
Well,
I mean, I don't. I don't really know. I mean, that's your opinion. Okay.
Well, you can go vote November the 5th, which I will. If you think this election is going to be corrupt.
Who are you voting for, Joe?
Pardon?
Who are you voting for?
I'm a Trumper.
Okay. Well, you sound defeated. I mean, I don't think it was and thanks, Joe, for the call. I don't think this was a huge defeat last night.
No.
I mean, and I don't want anybody to come off with that idea. Like I got a text earlier, man, y'all sound like Trump's done for. No, man, we're just getting warmed up. I think that debate last night was kind of the beginning of the end. It wasn't the end of the end. It was the beginning of the end.
We got 2 months left. Trump needs to just say, hey, was your life better under my presidency or Joe Biden and Kamala Harris's administration? Yep. That's it. If he does that effectively, he's going to win. Yep. If he doesn't, he's going to lose. It's not complicated.
And Joe, I appreciate your call. I appreciate all of your calls. We're running tardy. It's 2:49, Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Matt Murphy for Members Nutrition. I want to tell you about the Members Nutrition difference, and I want to encourage you to go over to the Members Nutrition website. Number one, they believe at Members Nutrition that they can sell vitamins and supplements at a lower cost point, and they're doing it every single day at membersnutrition.com. Number two, they want to make these products right here in the United States of America, not from some overseas company, and they do that every single day. I encourage you to go to membersnutrition.com. You'll get 50% off your purchase price at checkout. You don't have to put in any codes. Just go to membersnutrition.com. Once again, membersnutrition.com.
Hey, it's Dan Mandis, and I am so glad that California Closets has fixed my closet catastrophe. After exact measuring and planning, they came over and got to work. Yeah, once it was all plotted out on their 3D CAD system, the pieces are measured, cut, and precisely installed into my space. It was clean, fast, and professional, and above all, my new closets look and function great. Now, this was my dormer, and now this is my new dormer thanks to California Closets. Look at all of this added space for shirts and shoes, you name it, and it is cut so precisely, simply amazing. And my old closet that has now been reborn as the ultimate in style and functionability, making the best use of the space that I had. They can work on just about anything: bedrooms, garages, home offices, closets, pantries, and so much more. Find them online, CaliforniaClosets.com. and see what they can do for you. You can schedule a free design consultation. Mention my name, CaliforniaClosets.com.
It is September 11th. 23 years ago, Cameron, you were doing what?
I was in the Phi Gamma Delta living room watching. We had just got the reports that the first tower had been hit, and it was on the news, and I was in the fraternity in the living room when the second tower got hit. And it was just a totally shocking moment.
Mr. Brian Wilson joins us to preview what's coming up on the drive, and I know we'll have a robust conversation during the drive. Brian will about the debate from last night, but Brian, I will ask you, where were you 23 years ago today?
In the middle of it. I was covering Washington, D.C. I was sent to Capitol Hill early that day. And ended up ultimately at the Pentagon later that day, and covered the recovery efforts at the Pentagon for the better part of a month after that, every day. I have. By the way, on that topic, I learned something today about the events of 9/11, a part that I was connected to, that I have never heard before until today.
Oh, wow.
I learned something new, and I'm going to be talking about that in the 4 o'clock hour. But it was a complete surprise to hear something I had always suspected, but I had never had confirmed until today.
Well, we look forward to that in the 4 o'clock hour. Let me pivot back over to the debate and just get a sense of what you thought.
Well, I'm gonna ask your forgiveness and not answer that question
well,
because
no, that's okay.
I'll tell you why. I'm going to open up my show today with the phone lines open at 615-737-9986. I'm going to take calls for the first segment, the first 20 minutes or so, because I want to know what people thought, what they had to say. Now, I have some very strong opinions about what happened, and I will reveal that after I hear from the audience.
Okay.
And,
I like it.
That's sort of the way I want to go at this today. So clearly it's a day where we look back at the debate. We'll hear a lot of your thoughts about that. I'll give you my opinions, and then we'll also talk, of course, we can't not talk about the events some 23 years ago on 9/11.
Okay, then I'll ask a question this way. What is your favorite Taylor Swift song, Brian Wilson?
Oops, I did it again.
That's pretty
cold.
Except that it's not a Taylor Swift song.
I know.
Whenever we do on my program, whenever we mention Taylor Swift, we play that song, and then it just drives the Swifties crazy.
People go insane.
They go insane. That's not Taylor Swift. So I have a feeling we'll be doing that again today.
I expect that you will. There's Brian Wilson. He's coming up right after Ken Weaver's newscast on Super Talk 99.7 WT. And we do invite you to remember September 11th, 23 years ago today. I was at a radio station in Montgomery, Alabama, and reported on the events. I was on air for about 12 hours that day, reporting on the events locally that were happening around the country and around the world. Truly, it is a day that we will never forget, always remember, and always cherish the lost ones and the loved ones. Hug your loved ones if you have the opportunity to do so. Enjoy Brian Wilson in the drive right after Ken Weaver's newscast. We'll talk to you tomorrow, folks. Until then, so long, everybody.